be discovered when you actually use the phone as your daily driver. Compared to the HarmonyOS Next beta back in August, the changes in the essential app WeChat have been transformative. Now, WeChat can not only send your location, but also support real-time location sharing. Opening My Moments, we can finally view live photos properly. In the settings, you can finally adjust visibility permissions for your moments. When a message arrives while you're on a different page in WeChat, tapping the notification will now show it in a bottom pop-up. Checking the wallet. Users can now set up business accounts directly. Most mini programs are now compatible and open smoothly. Almost all the essential chat-related features are now fully functional. But if you dig deeper, you'll find it's still far from a complete experience. Most of the gaps we pointed out last time have been addressed, but this time, we're going to give you the full picture. On Android, tapping a WeChat message notification takes you directly to the corresponding chat. It's a seamless experience. But on HarmonyOS Next, tapping a notification still takes you to the splash screen, followed by a loading spinner. The biggest issue is that it just lands you on the home screen. You have to find the specific chat and tap it yourself. This is currently the biggest pain point for the user experience. It is baffling that this simple logic still hasn't been adapted. After logging out of WeChat on HarmonyOS, voice-activated login is not supported. Emergency account freezing is unavailable. In the Me profile page, you cannot add a new status. On all personal info pages, the current region is not displayed. The Moments entry also doesn't show thumbnail previews. You have to click and wait for it to load before viewing. Unlike on Android, where they appear instantly, Moments still doesn't support dynamic cover photos. In Moments, certain images and stickers in the comments won't display. Without checking on an Android or iOS device, you might never know what they are. You also can't comment directly from the post details page. After writing a long post and uploading many photos to Moments, only to find a typo after posting. On Android, you can re-edit after deleting and repost. But on HarmonyOS, once it is deleted, it is gone. There is no second chance. Also, you can't quickly access your recent stickers in chats. When sending a sticker, Android has a zoom in and out animation, which is missing on HarmonyOS. New features like gifts, voice input, favorites, and files are still unsupported. This really slows down communication in certain scenarios. If you haven't enabled channels yet, there is no option to set it up here. Once enabled, you can't see message notifications within channels. You can't even see who liked your videos. When posting a video via channels on Android, clicking Next takes you to an editing screen, where you can add titles and edit text. HarmonyOS lacks this. Uploading is just a direct upload. In short, channels is currently only good for browsing. Content creation and uploading will pose significant challenges. On Android, unfinished mini programs can be displayed as floating windows in the top left, for easy access later. However, HarmonyOS lacks this feature. When sharing multiple photos, sending them one by one as multiple messages works fine. But when sharing just a single image, it still says, forwarding one by one, 1 message, in total, forwarding one message, one by one, that is grammatically nonsensical. Whereas on Android, for a single share, it displays the specific content type, such as an image or a song. After hitting send, WeChat on HarmonyOS 6 stays on the homepage, while Android automatically jumps to the chat window. Similarly, sharing from QQ Music to WeChat yields the same issues. Once sent, the WeChat background on HarmonyOS 6 turns into a blank white screen, and it formally refers to QQ Music as a third-party application. As for the shared content itself, Android shares a music card that is playable immediately, whereas HarmonyOS only sends a basic H5 link. When searching chat history, Android displays results instantly as you type. The HarmonyOS version requires you to tap search manually in the Add Friends menu. You still can't attach images or set common greetings, or add memos and photos for contact details. It is very user-unfriendly for dating app users. You can't view friends from your phone's contact list. There is also no way to add official or service accounts. Many programs cannot be displayed via the homepage search box, nor can chat history. Additionally, some gaming mini programs still don't support information push notifications. You also can't quickly search for specific functions within the settings page. Under friend permissions, only the visibility settings for Moments have been updated. Along with the contact blacklist, you still can't view chat-only contacts or manage channels permissions. Features like top stories and Wayrun are also still missing. You cannot customize notification sounds or ringtones for WeChat calls. Switching between WeChat accounts is also not supported. If WeChat fixes all the issues I just mentioned, it would be very close to its final, complete form. For me, WeChat is currently almost usable. But many essential features are still missing. Since I occasionally post on channels, this lack of functionality is quite inconvenient. I hope the developers keep working hard on it. If you've watched this far, please give a like and some support to original bloggers like us who share genuine experiences. We want more people to see this video to benefit everyone and help make HarmonyOS Next better and better. Now, let's talk about the status of social and streaming platforms, specifically, Xiaohongshu, Weibo, Douyin, and Bilibili. First, let's look at Xiaohongshu. This app has basically completed over 90% of its functional adaptation. Its animations perfectly follow the system's native transition logic. Swiping left and right to navigate back is incredibly smooth. Compared to the August version, you can now share contact cards in DMs. System notifications that previously couldn't be opened can now be accessed and will redirect you to the correct window. Core features like posting notes, managing settings, commenting, browsing, viewing history, and live shopping are all fully supported. This is the app we really want to praise today. The experience on HarmonyOS Next is fantastic. So, what is missing in the remaining 10%? First, there is an issue with quoting messages in chats, specifically when users try to quote a note in a conversation, but I can't click to jump to the quoted message. Second, system notifications can now be opened, but some promotional messages still can't be opened. The third shortcoming is in the integrated shopping platform. Many shopping options are missing. There's no way to find products through categories. The settings page doesn't support customizing your own address either. Overall, the pros outweigh the cons. It is already a great job focusing on functionality before profit. That is what I call integrity. Now, let's talk about a certain microblogging app. This is the app we're going to praise today. The chat window doesn't support sharing GIFs or group contact cards. The Me page is missing status options. You can't quickly display your QR code on the scan page. Clicking My Wallet only reveals that the feature isn't ready yet. Currently unavailable. The check-in feature in the task center is missing. There is no recommended friends feature. Recommended follows don't show up on top influencers' homepages. Reposts are not displayed in the comments section. Neither are the counts for comments and likes. When I use the app's internal search engine, some videos still won't even open, showing a prompt that the feature is not yet available. Occasionally, clicking a control will trigger a back action, resulting in a white screen. Clicking the icon again leads to the same thing. With so many features still unfinished, why did I say it is worth praising? Because it was among the first. As early as several months ago, it was the developer that perfected the art of launch ads for HarmonyOS Next. Just as you get used to apps opening instantly on HarmonyOS Next, and then, you open this app again. It is like a sudden wake-up call, a bolt from the blue. It's currently the only app that has optimized its splash screen ads so thoroughly. It pops up different types of splash ads depending on the monetization model. For some, the skip button is at the top. Some use shake to open to redirect. Some use swipe up to redirect. And some just require a simple click to redirect. If you open and close the app 5 or 6 times in a row, it shows you a different splash ad every single time. Doesn't that deserve some praise? Hey, making money isn't a crime. Next up is a certain video platform. Watching videos, commenting, and liking work just fine. Even though it has been updated many times, it feels like it's just running in place. It seems they've just been fixing bugs and optimizing the experience. But missing features haven't been added yet. The homepage still lacks a swipeable horizontal banner. Video transitions aren't as seamless as on Xiaohongshu, where you return exactly where you left off. There's still no upload button in the center of the bottom navigation bar. Posting updates doesn't support scheduled uploads, live stream reservations, or giveaways. The My page is missing the release calendar. You still can't start live streams, and several buttons are missing from the bottom. Replies and message threads still can't be opened. Clicking on certain system notifications still does nothing. Coupon notifications still show the link at the end of the text, and they don't support tap to redirect when visiting blocked profiles or pages with no updates. The page UI becomes completely glitched. Interestingly, the member buy features on this site are remarkably complete. Features like My Orders, the shopping cart, and the coupon modules are all there, as are the categories at the bottom, which help you find products quickly. As you scroll down the page, 3 shortcuts even appear at the top right. For Orders, Cart, and My Profile. It is incredibly convenient. Even the native apps on Android and iOS pale in comparison. As the saying goes, making money is nothing to be ashamed of. But interestingly, a certain site, Bilibili, doesn't allow you to make purchases while watching live streams. It lacks a shopping cart feature on the live broadcast page. It also doesn't support displaying product links in the bottom left corner. I'm honestly quite speechless at this. Watching live streams on HarmonyOS Next via that platform. If you actually manage to buy anything, I'll eat my hat. On a certain short video app, Douyin, all video-related features are very well implemented. Compared to the August version, they've finally added the scan button at the top. While watching a video, likes, comments, favorites, and shares are all available. In the comments section, you can post images, friends, and use emojis, it is all there. You can also access the shopping cart during live streams. All the e-commerce features are present, however, there are areas that still need improvement. You can't DM a creator directly from their profile page. You have to click the 3 dots in the top right corner, and then scroll down to find the DM option. You can't search through a creator's works on their profile. When searching for a specific creator from the main search page, their works are not displayed directly under their name. It appears as just a text entry. To see their work, you must click their avatar to go to their profile. Furthermore, there are no search filters or keyword category tabs. The settings page is still missing the Creator Center. The pop-up menu on the right of the home page lacks access to common mini-programs and frequently visited users. You can post videos, but text-only or mixed image text posts are currently unavailable. Of course, I believe the vast majority of Douyin users are just here to scroll through short videos, so these missing features might not affect them. Moreover, whether it is the display of shopping links in live streams, or the integrated mall and the entire checkout process, its level of completion far exceeds that of Xiaohongshu and Bilibili. Regarding e-commerce apps, the adaptation efforts for Taobao and JD.com have been quite significant. Both platforms are nearly 95% adapted. Whether browsing, purchasing, or returning items, the entire workflow is smooth. However, I noticed that while both apps originally used native HarmonyOS transition animations, which track the point of origin, they have now reverted to the standard Android-style page sliding animations. Another grievance I have with both platforms is that, when I encounter an issue with a purchase, or need instructions from customer service, I usually take or select a photo in-app and use the editor to circle the problem area. However, the HarmonyOS version of Taobao lacks this editing feature, so I have to edit the photo in the system gallery first, before sending it to customer service. JD.com is the same. As for Alipay, I haven't noticed any major gaps in the experience, but it seems the built-in mini-games are still unavailable. I wonder if the 5 Blessings event will be ready by Chinese New Year. Also, on Android, the Alipay payment page is blurred in the multitasker view for privacy. But this isn't the case on HarmonyOS yet. Food delivery apps are also quite well adapted. Compared to August, LME Now within Taobao Flash Sale, Meituan Takeaway, and JD Food Delivery now offer a seamless experience from browsing to delivery. Meituan's coupon expansion feature has finally been added. Features related to payments and discounts have been well refined across these platforms. So, what is still missing? First, the weather visual effects on the delivery map. For rainy days, windy days, or snowy days, Taobao Flash Sale is missing the frequently ordered module on the homepage. The message page lacks a clear all button for notifications. As for the Me profile page, quite a few things are still missing. I won't go into too much detail there. After all, we primarily use these apps to order food. In Meituan Takeaway, if I order something I don't like, I'd prefer not to see that merchant on my homepage again. However, the option to long press a merchant and select dislike is currently missing. Additionally, Meituan Takeaway still shows a placeholder message. Sorry, this message type is currently not supported. As for comic apps, Tencent Comics and Bilibili Comics have completed their functional adaptation. Compared to August, the bookshelf and history features have been added. The animations for opening comics have also been optimized. You can now read bullet comments in real time while reading. The overall experience is already quite good. As someone who reads comics every night before bed, the current features are sufficient and I'm very satisfied. Interestingly, in paid comics, you can take screenshots without any restrictions, whereas Android and iOS usually block this. To me, this is actually a plus. I'm not looking to share them elsewhere. I just like to save the great artwork for myself. Also, I hope they hold off on adding splash screen ads for as long as possible. Moving on to music apps. NetEase Cloud Music still shows no signs of wanting to adapt natively. Only the Jueyitong compatibility version is available. As for QQ Music, it has added several new sections to the homepage compared to the August version. Instinctively, I don't want the app to become bloated with even more windows and sections. However, they've now added a feature to earn free listening time by watching ads. Previously, if you wanted to listen to JChou on HarmonyOS Next's QQ Music, your only option was to pay for a Green Diamond membership, but now, there is another choice. As for the second-hand trading app Xianyu, compared to the August version, it has added one-click resale, service posting, and platform content selection. During the listing process, AI auto-generation is now supported. Items can be listed with various protections like Yanhua verification service. The chat list now supports searching through chat history. Items can now be shared, and saving videos and photos locally is supported. Better yet, there is no Xianyu watermark on the saved media. When I'm editing a listing, uploaded images can be edited directly in the app, including cropping, framing, and blurring. I only have 2 gripes regarding its actual use. First, I don't know what the Xianyu team is thinking, but after 6 months, it still doesn't support copy and paste. I can't copy information into the items I'm trying to list, nor can I paste SF Express tracking numbers into the platform. It is honestly ridiculous. The second issue is that while chatting with buyers or sellers, it has added transfers, location sharing, and item sharing, which are all great. However, voice calls are still not supported. Sometimes, when receiving or sending out an item, you really need to make a quick voice call to coordinate. Then, I had a sudden thought. What happens if I use the Android version of CNU to call the HarmonyOS Next version? What's the result? It just keeps waiting on the caller's end. The call never actually goes through. Once I hang up the call, the HarmonyOS device simply shows that the other party has cancelled. Tapping, call back, does nothing at all. If you are also selling second-hand items, and try to voice call a buyer, who is online but doesn't answer for a long time, they might actually be a Jazz user, a Huawei fan. As for other apps that are part of our daily lives, but are more straightforward in use, let's go over them quickly. Banking apps across all categories are very well adapted. Basic security and features are fully guaranteed. Rail 12,306 and Traffic 12,123 are also highly polished. From what I've seen, regional government service apps are also quite complete, such as Sufu Ban, AI Shandong, Ganfu, Tongyue Shengshi, and so on. Work apps like DingTalk for clocking in. Delivery apps like SF Express and JD. Didi for ride-hailing. Hotel booking through Huazhu. Moyan for movies. Jihu and Tiva for information. Damai for tickets. Lalamove for moving. And Kulin for tech enthusiasts. Perhaps because their functions are relatively simple, or because my usage is quite basic, I didn't feel any disconnect during my experience. Nor did I notice any major missing features. Also, since I don't manage wealth or trade stocks, I'm not very familiar with those types of apps. If you use them, feel free to leave a comment or bullet chat about how the adaptation is progressing. First are Honor of Kings and League of Legends. Both the image quality and frame rates are on par with Android flagships. The gameplay experience is seamless and excellent. Second are FPS titles like Peace Elite and Dark Zone Breakout. You can also manually max out both the frame rate and graphics. Now that the good ones are covered, let's talk about the downsides. The first category is Delta Force, which is also an FPS game. It forces you to make a trade-off. If you want the game to be smooth enough, then you must lower the image quality. If you choose to crank up the graphics, then you have to sacrifice the frame rate. One is standard quality, and the other is HD, which is 2 levels higher. The difference is obvious at a single glance. Think that is where it ends. For the following, you don't even get a choice. Take the Auto Battler Battle of the Golden Shovel, for example. Half a year has passed, and it still hasn't been adapted for higher frame rates. Once you are used to playing at 120 FPS, going back to 60 FPS is very uncomfortable. You might argue that 60 FPS is fine for an auto battler, and doesn't really affect your moves. But for a fighting game, the Naruto game is simply inexcusable. This was among the first batch of games adapted for HarmonyOS Next. Yet the frame rate is stuck at 60 FPS. This is a fighting game that requires precise movement and skill timing. Keep in mind that even Huawei's Mate 40 Pro from 6 years ago can all maintain a steady 60 FPS. The gameplay experience here feels very disjointed. Now that we've covered the app adaptation for HarmonyOS Next, let's talk about the built-in software of HarmonyOS Next itself, and the issues or design flaws it currently has. Huawei might not be able to do much about the issues mentioned earlier, but I believe the following points are inherent issues with HarmonyOS Next itself. Let's start with the highlights of the experience. After using the native apps like HarmonyOS Music, videos, ebooks, and maps, I can say with confidence, though small, they are perfectly formed and fully featured. They're intuitive and a joy to use. They have every essential feature you'd expect, especially with the complimentary memberships included. They're essentially on par with premium paid apps on the market. And compared to the August version, HarmonyOS Next has brought back Huawei R measure, which I thought had been removed. It lets you measure distances via flat surfaces when you don't have a tape measure. It is incredibly useful. For US average consumers, the biggest advantage of HarmonyOS Next isn't actually its ecosystem. Don't just parrot other creators' claims about how mind-blowing the ecosystem is. Most average consumers like us won't be buying HarmonyOS laptops, especially since many industrial software tools aren't compatible. Even Ado cars aren't exactly high value for money, nor is it easy for everyone to set up a whole house smart system. Those things feel quite out of reach, at least for me. The biggest advantage most users will notice is the system-wide fluidity of this phone. Don't underestimate this level of smoothness. Once you've experienced it, you'll realize it is in a different league. It offers a powerful sense of consistency. There is one specific minor scenario that I personally find very satisfying. It is when the keyboard pops up after clicking the input box in WeChat. Then tap on an empty space to close the keyboard. On Android, as you toggle back and forth, you'll notice the input box expands and closes quite rigidly. It doesn't lag, so you could call it smooth. But on the HarmonyOS Next version of WeChat, it is not just smooth, it has these silky bouncy animations. I didn't think much of it when I was using Android. But after experiencing this on HarmonyOS, it is hard to go back. The second point is its security, which directly translates into better ease of use. This is evident whenever an app requires me to upload a photo. I only grant access to the specific photo I select. The app cannot access my entire gallery. On Android, however, you have to grant permission first. And only then can you click submit. Next time, you have to authorize another photo all over again. Authorizing and then submitting is very tedious. I usually just end up granting full access to save trouble. Enough with the praise, let's talk about the issues. First, HarmonyOS Next now supports app cloning for many applications. That is great, but they missed a crucial feature here. The ability to set a default app choice. For example, I have 2 instances of Alipay. Every time I elegantly tap for an NFC payment, I'm prompted to manually select which account to use. The same thing happens with Huawei SmartPay. I still have to make a choice every single time. It doesn't feel very smart at all. It is the same when authorizing an app to open. Having to tap every single time. It is so annoying. I hope HarmonyOS Next adds this feature as soon as possible. Second, regarding the feature that automatically brings up codes from a black screen, it works for the pop-up codes at subway entrances, but after scanning, it still defaults to the payment code. I know using NFC is very convenient nowadays, but scanning with Alipay allows for expense reimbursement. Plus, Xiaoyi can accurately recognize my location at the subway entrance, and intelligently bring up the transit QR code. I think this is a much smarter experience. Third, for office workers like us, when there is an adjusted workday for a holiday, we instinctively want to turn off tomorrow's alarm. On Android, you have the option to skip only the next alarm. HarmonyOS 6 doesn't support the option to turn off just once. So, after I turn it off, I have to remember to turn it back on the night before I go back to work. If I forget, it simply won't ring. Fourth, smart home devices in the control center occasionally fail to respond, displaying a network error. Yet, I can still control them perfectly by going into Huawei's AI Life app. Fifth, Huawei has frequently promoted the drag and drop feature of its Super Hub. But after trying it out, I found that you can only drag images into Xiaoyi. It doesn't work with third-party apps. For instance, you can't drag a photo out when posting to Moments, nor can you drag it into a chat window. Among other software, only DingTalk supports this feature. Since both the system and the apps are now pure-blooded HarmonyOS, Huawei should have integrated these protocols by now. Having to wait for third-party adaptation feels like a real letdown. Sixth, HarmonyOS 6 lacks customizable physical shortcuts for blind operation. The keyword here is customizable. For example, double-clicking the volume down button opens the camera, but double-clicking the power button is restricted to opening Huawei Wallet. But many people don't use their phones that way. HarmonyOS should allow these to be fully customizable. Currently, the only shortcut Huawei allows you to modify is the power button double tap. I set it as a shortcut for the flashlight. Trying to use it in the dark was a total nightmare. It failed so many times, it is extremely frustrating to use. On the Android side, you can do so much with custom shortcuts. Double-clicking the volume down button is customizable. And long pressing it can be customized as well. Vivo and Oppo even followed Apple's lead by adding a dedicated shortcut button. I hope HarmonyOS Next will allow for more custom shortcuts in future updates, to make it easier for users to operate by feel. Seventh, my thoughts on the future of HarmonyOS Next. HarmonyOS Next lacks the accessibility background activity feature. Even if you use Joy-Etong to download Liaotaotao, it still won't work. This raises a question. Once HarmonyOS software optimization is more mature, how will it handle skipping splash screen ads? On iOS, you can create app icons via URLs, and place them on the home screen to bypass ads. Android users can use third-party apps to enable accessibility services and auto-start to skip ads. However, both of these methods don't seem to be supported by HarmonyOS. Eighth, Joy-Etong has now opened up many permissions. Niche apps that were previously unusable due to permission issues can now run. However, it remains an emergency stopgap. This means, if you need its functionality, you inevitably have to sacrifice the smoothness of the experience. Take Bilibili as an example. App jumping via Joy-Etong looks like this. Plus, all apps are locked at 90 FPS. So, as smooth as HarmonyOS Next is natively, the experience on Joy-Etong feels equally fragmented. Joy-Etong also has a blocking mechanism. If you download malware that compromises system security, it will block it, which is a great feature. But for some apps, I still want to use the Android versions. It doesn't grant you the permissions. It simply won't let you use them. The most ridiculous part is when you want to switch away from HarmonyOS Next, and want to export your data back to an Android phone. Well, too bad. Huawei's own phone clone only supports migrating from Android or iOS to HarmonyOS Next. But when you download this app on an Android device, it only gives you the old device option. There is no option to migrate data from HarmonyOS Next back to Android or iOS. Can't I just download an Android version via Joyitong? Sorry, but Joyitong recognizes these types of apps and blocks them all. Installation is strictly prohibited and unsupported. Once you're in, don't even think about leaving. It makes you feel like once you enter the HarmonyOS ecosystem, there is no turning back. From then on, Android becomes a total stranger. This kind of logic feels very overbearing to me. A good friend of mine also told me that they regretted upgrading from the Android-based MUI to HarmonyOS Next. In the process of rolling back the system, they found that all their photo dates had been completely scrambled. In summary, this is my most comprehensive effort this year on this HarmonyOS Next software adaptation review. If you find this content helpful, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you so much. This is a direct look at what works and what doesn't. And the actual user experience, good or bad. There is no advertising or sponsored content here. Returning to the point I made at the beginning, if after watching this video, you still want to try out Huawei's new phones, then, I believe you won't regret it. Our original intention is simply to help viewers like you, and helping manufacturers make rapid progress and breakthroughs. However, there are 3 types of people I wouldn't recommend using HarmonyOS Next as their only primary device. First, gamers with a very diverse library. Hardcore auto chess and fighting game fans. Once these users switch to HarmonyOS Next, it is basically Huawei helping you cure your gaming addiction. Second, personal bloggers. If you frequently post videos and photos to social media platforms, back-end features like info display, message replies, and data analytics aren't fully adapted yet, so it can't be your only device. Third, those who rely heavily on specific third-party apps. If you need them for hours every day, I don't recommend this system yet. The access provided by Joyitong is only intended for emergencies. For example, if you have a My Home air conditioner at home, you can use Joyitong to run the My Home app, just to turn on the AC remotely. It takes less than 10 seconds. But not having the feature at all would be a deal breaker. For me, this makes it essential. That is exactly what Joyitong is for. If your daily work or leisure requires using an app via Joyitong for 2 to 3 hours. Or if you're already thinking of downgrading from HarmonyOS Next to the Android version. You're just asking for trouble, why even use Huawei then? You'd be better off with an Android or an iPhone, right? Alright, that is our honest and in-depth review for today. If this was helpful, don't forget to like and follow. We'll keep producing this series until the HarmonyOS Next ecosystem is fully adapted. In 6 months, we'll share another update on its software adaptation. I hope that by the time the Mate 90 arrives in a year, all software features will be fully adapted. If there is significant progress, I certainly won't hold back on my praise. I will give it the credit it deserves.